Defense Grid is an older game. It came out all the way back in 2008, but out of all the tower defense games that I played, this one is by far my favorite one. I have not yet been able to find one that is better than this one. And I'll also be doing a review on Defense Grid 2 because it's basically a thing where if you get tired of the challenging atmosphere that this game has, then Defense Grid 2 would be a nice option to kind of give yourself a break from this game. Because it's a little bit easier. Not much easier, but it is easier. And I have went on a quest to try and find a more current tower defense type of game, and I just haven't been able to find one that gives me the same type of feel as this one. The graphics are a little bit older, a bit outdated. It would be really nice to see like some kind of a graphical improvement re-release of this game or something like that, because like I said, I cannot find a better tower defense game. Every time I check out something, I catch myself saying, well, this game seems like it's fun, but it's not as challenging as Defense Grid. So the satisfaction of beating a level is just not on the same level as this game. And, oh, this game doesn't have this aspect that Defense Grid has. So this is my review of Defense Grid, but I'm kind of biased a little bit because I can't, like I said, in my personal opinion, I cannot find a better tower defense game than this one. So with that being said, we're going to break it down. And how I'm going to do every review is I'm going to approach it like, what is the expectation of this game? Should you have a high expectation going into this game? Are you going to have an average expectation? Like you go into it and you're just kind of like, yeah, this is average, or a low expectation, or should you pass on this game altogether? That's what I'll be getting into. So we'll start first with the characters. So you're the commander. You're the one putting the towers down, but you also have an AI. And the AI is the one that's talking your character as you, because you are the character. When he says commander, he's talking about you, not a character that was made in the game. You are the commander. I do like that because it's like they're not talking to the character that you're playing as. They're talking directly to you. You are the commander. And there aren't enough games out there that kind of adopt that, where it's like it's you, not you playing as a character. It's you. And I really, really like that. But the AI and the way they wrote him and stuff like that isn't going, it's not what's going to pull you into this game and make you really, really want to play it. It's literally everything else. Like, I quite literally ignore what they're saying and what the AI character says in the game and stuff like that. I literally ignore what he's saying. I don't pay any attention to him. I think that it's the weakest point of the game, but it's not horrible. It's just it's not really annoying either. I mean, when you lose a level and you have to start over and over again, after a while, yeah, it'll start to get annoying, but that's with everything. Like if you start something over and you have to listen to the same dialogue over and over, you're going to get annoyed after a while. But overall, it's not annoying, but it's something that this game could still be really, really fun and not have in the game at all. and that's why I gave it an average rating. Your expectation for the characters of this game, it should just be an average expectation. You're not going to get a whole lot of excitement out of it, but it's not going to be like overly boring or anything like that. The gameplay I put very high. I mean, it's one of the funnest games I've ever played, period. It is so much fun. And when you get into those challenging missions where you're trying to keep the aliens from taking off with your cores, and no matter what you do, they somehow manage at some point to take off with your a couple of your cores, you have to go through and you have to restart and try to figure out what can I do differently to improve the chances of the aliens being killed by these turrets that I'm putting up so that they're not taking off with any of the cores. And that challenging aspect of it, it makes it at that time really, really annoying, but it gives you that same feel that I had when I was a kid when I was playing Super Mario on Nintendo. You know, I would die, I'd have to start all over again, but it was like, it was really annoying at that time. But that challenging factor, that super extra challenging effect that game has on you, makes you want to go back later on after you've calmed down, after you've spent some time away from it. You wanted to go back and you wanted to figure out, okay, fresh mind, fresh time period, let's go into this and figure out what I'm doing wrong. Let's try to get this level finished and completed. And because of that, it keeps drawing you back in. And like I said, this game came out in 2008. I've played this game probably 5 or 6 times and just went back and replayed it, and basically was just trying to beat the high score that I had on those levels. And it's just so much fun, especially like the really challenging ones. Like I said, I use Defense Grid 2. Like if I'm in a mood to play Tower Defense, I play Defense Grid 1 or Defense Grid 2. And if it gets to be too challenging and I can't find a way to beat that level, then I know that I need to take a break from that. And then I still want to play Tower Defense, so I'll go to Defense Grid 2. The crafting, now I put crafting, but it's more just like you have a set amount of towers, or you don't have a set amount of towers, but you have like different towers. You have the gun, the inferno, the laser cannon, temporal, which slows the enemies down, the meteor, the missile, different ones and stuff like that. The only thing I didn't like about the turrets that they actually did improve on, which I'll talk about that more in Defense Grid 2's review. In this game, the missiles will only shoot the aliens that are flying in the air. And they improved that, where the missiles shoot anything in the area, whether it's flying or not. I really like that improvement. And I hope if they ever consider re-releasing Defense Grid with better graphics, that they also do a few tweaks and make it to where the missiles don't only fire at the flying aliens. That would be really, really awesome. There were so many times in which it was like, there was no space at all for error. If you forgot to put that missile up, then those flying things would come in and they didn't fly close enough to your gun turrets, because there's only certain ones that will do certain things. And so only a couple of the turret designs would attack the flying ones. And so if you didn't have guns down where the flying aliens were, the guns wouldn't shoot them and they would take off with your cores. Whereas if you have a missile down, they'll shoot it anywhere in the sky within, well, not anywhere, but in a really large area of space. They would shoot them from the sky. And if you had cannons up, the cannons will shoot them too, but the missiles are the most reliable for taking out the sky aliens overall. So if you forgot to put the missile up, and you put the missile up when they started showing up, you're probably too late, and a couple of them are going to be able to take off with your cores. But it's so much fun figuring out a formula on the ground as to, okay, I don't want the aliens to get to the cores too quickly, so I'm going to block them off in this part of the map, and I want to use this turret to do this, or I want to make sure that I have this turret set up here, like with the Tesla turret. The Tesla electrocutes the aliens, and for example, the Tesla is good for reducing the aliens, because some of the aliens have shields. The Tesla is very good for reducing the shields of the shielded aliens. So having that set up in certain parts would be better than having it set up in other parts, in other areas. And so you have to think, eventually there's going to be some shield aliens that come in. Eventually there's going to be some sky aliens, but you also have to make sure you have enough defense set up for the regular ground aliens that are coming in, and you have to figure out how to block them off so that it takes them longer to get to your cores, and block them off so it takes them longer to exit the level with the cores. It's a lot to think about every single match, and for me, it's just so much fun to have that much going on and that much to think about, and have that kind of a challenge where if you just put turrets down wherever and not think about a strategy, then most likely you're going to lose. You have to have a strategy, you have to think about it, you have to formulate a plan, and I really like that. It's almost it's like solving a puzzle, but it's a game built around solving that puzzle with turrets, and I love it. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. The weapons, I already pretty much covered the turrets and stuff like that, but what I didn't say was you have 3 different levels of turrets. So you put down a level 1 turret, they're green. The green turrets, they're the starter turrets. They have a certain set amount of resources, which in this defense grid, you get the resources from killing the aliens. When you get enough resources, you can level up whatever turret you want to, providing you have the amount required, the amount of resources required. Then you can upgrade it to a yellow. Then you can eventually upgrade it to a red. And the gun turret, it's pretty much the starter average turret, because it's like the yellow level 2 upgrade is only 200 resource. But then the level 3, the red gun resource is about 400. Yeah, it's 400. Whereas like a missile turret is going to be like, I think it was 500 and then 1,000 or something like that to upgrade it from green to yellow and then yellow to red. So it's going to cost more depending on what turrets you are using. So on top of the strategy of where you're going to put them, how you're going to put them to prevent the aliens from getting to the cores, to slow them down from leaving with the cores, and what ones need to go where for shielded enemies, for flying enemies, then you also have that on top of all of that you have to think about. Hey, would it be more of an advantage to put down a bunch of gun turrets to block them from getting to a certain area, or would it be more of an advantage for me to try and upgrade a couple of these gun turrets to level 3 or the red level, so that they're extremely powerful and they can take them out before they get past the turrets? And sometimes it's one thing, and then sometimes it's the other thing, and you kind of have to get a feel of the level and figure it out. It's kind of like you have to run a couple test runs and get the idea of where they're heading, where they're going to go, what path are they taking originally, and like, so what path do I need to block off, and how am I going to adjust everything? And just that amount of thinking is kind of rare in video games nowadays. It doesn't require a whole lot of thinking for most games nowadays, and I really like that challenging. It gets you to think, gets you to use your brain. Definitely the best tower defense out there, in my opinion. The voice acting, that's the only one that I gave a low rating because it was just like, the voice acting wasn't bad, but it's not something where you're going to go in expecting like, really, really good voice acting. I don't recommend going into this game expecting there to be like an amazing story and amazing voice acting and stuff like that. Um, the music I would say is also average because it's just like a few things here and there, a few songs. It kind of is just like, it's not like it gets you pumped. It doesn't get you like, yeah, let's do this. Which you don't need that because the level itself is going to do that for you anyway. You're going to get pumped to, get these aliens killed and figure out how to stop them and stuff like that. Every level, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to figure out how to put these turrets down and stuff. So I don't even need the music. But the music, I would say, is it's just average. It's nothing special. But overall, obviously my expectation grade for this would be very high. Like, go into this game expecting to have fun. Go into this game expecting to have a lot of replayability because you don't just have the awakening storyline, but you have all these challenges in each level. Like, you can do all these different challenges and stuff like that besides the story, and then you have like 3 or 4 really, really super challenging levels. If you decide to like buy the DLCs for this game, like the story wasn't good enough and like the alternate quests on each level wasn't good enough, like you've done all that, now you want more, pick up the DLCs. The game is cheap. It's only $10, and the DLCs, I think like $5 or $6 or something like that. Not very expensive. You'll spend maybe $20 on this game if you wanted to have everything. And I think it's, even though it came out all the way back in 2008, I think it's worth at least like $30. So that kind of also contributes into, what I say about the overall expectation of going into this game being very high. I think anybody that even remotely likes tower defense or has ever been interested in tower defense, go buy this. It's on PC, on Steam still. You can still pick it up. It's only $10 for the base game. I highly recommend anybody that likes tower defense at all, go check this game out. I really don't think you'll be disappointed. The only thing that you might slightly be disappointed about is its 2008 graphics. And so sometimes I find myself wanting to go and play Defense Grid 2 because the graphics are better. But overall, I take a break from Defense Grid, I go and play Defense Grid 2. I still get brought back to Defense Grid because of the challenging nature of the game. It makes you feel like I said before, you're playing Super Mario or something that was really, really super challenging to get through. And so that is my review. Overall expectation, very high. And I'll be also making a review for Defense Grid 2. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right. Later.